Hello everybody and welcome to another top 5 board gaming video. It is the beginning of the month, which means it's time for another entry into new and recently released games. So of course, between the fact that my board game shelves are full, my wallet is empty, and COVID has prevented us from going out and playing with a bunch of people, it means that I can only dream of all of the new games that are coming out. But that said, it doesn't mean that we can't talk about them. So as always, there's more and more games to talk about. I'm super excited to give you guys 5 more that I'm personally excited about, but as always, let me know what you think in the comments below. What are you looking forward to and why? What do you think of my picks? Anything and everything, put it down there, but we're gonna get started with my number 5. At number 5, I've got Wonder Woman 1984. This is a card game from Cryptozoic, the same folks who made the legendary deck building game, and I'm kind of curious about why it exists. I mean, I guess it's because of the movie tie-in and all this kind of thing, but that's why it's so low on the list, because it seems like it could potentially be good because deck building game is really awesome, but at the same time Wonder Woman and all of that kind of stuff is already in that game. That said, in 1984 the idea is that you're trying to go out and save citizens. Everybody is playing as Wonder Woman and you're trying to go and save as many civilians as possible through card playing and all these kinds of heroics and stuff like that. So it is a card game. It does seem interesting. It is of course Wonder Woman, and more importantly, arguably, they did get the rights to actually have the images of some of the actors and actresses, which is kind of cool and relatively rare, especially for a big name title like this, but still not super excited about it, but seems interesting. Wonder Woman 1984, my number 5. At number 4, I've got Bees! You have to say it loud because it's in all capital letters. Essentially in this game, you are playing as bumblebees trying to go out and plan your path to get to the flowers, come back, and make honey. So it's a very relatively simple game, at least. It's got some interesting mechanics to it, and it's geared towards parents and children and all that kind of stuff. Very much a family game. On top of that, the components themselves are absolutely gorgeous. I really love the way that they look, and everything just seems to kind of come together really nicely on it. That said, in addition, as a scientist, I love the fact that we're seeing a game about bumblebees, because we have this whole issue of colony collapse syndrome and losing a lot of bees, and still not entirely certain of what's going on there. But we set that aside for an adorable little family game about going out and collecting nectar to make some honey. Bees, my number 4. At number 3, I've got Funfair. When I first saw this game, the only thing I could think of was Roller Coaster Tycoon, or Roller Coaster Planet Tycoon, or Planet Tycoon, whatever it is. All of these kind of tycoon various games. The whole point of this is that you're building an amusement park and you're trying to draw people in to have some fun. And I thought it's a wonderful change of pace from the year that we have had in terms of how horrible it's been between COVID and all this other nastiness that's been going on. I think that it's a fun and interesting theme that we really have not seen a whole lot of in terms of amusement park stuff. There are some out there, but not too many. And in this case, legitimately building it up and having your roller coasters, trying to attract your people, and having some legitimate and difficult, relatively speaking, mechanics with it, seems like it'll work pretty well. So I'm excited about it. It seems like it'll be fun, but in the meantime, I'll probably just stick to Roller Coaster Tycoon. Funfair is my number 3. At number 2, I've got Code 3. Just to be really confusing about the whole thing, this is a game that is all about being a beat cop. Not to mention that it's about being a pair of beat cops, so you've got your partner with you, and it seems like a fascinating take on the whole deductive reasoning and logical progression type of games that we've been seeing, not to mention all of the sort of cops and robbers types of things that we see in a lot of tropes across a lot of games. Within this, not only do you have your different types of police officers that come together in different ways and kind of bash heads depending on personalities, but you can also also have the police chief who acts a little bit differently and can do certain things and give orders and all that kind of stuff. It just seems like a really interesting thing and something that really dives a lot more into life as a police officer. Not that I know anything about it personally, but it is not something that I myself have seen in a board game, except for abstractly in stuff like, you know, good cop, bad cop and things like that. And I don't know how realistic they are, but Code 3 seems to be a little bit more realistic, at least in terms of like buddy cop shows. So probably still not very realistic, but still seems like a lot of fun. Code 3, my number 2. At number 1, I've got Vampire the Masquerade, Vendetta. I am super excited about this game because I love Vampire the Masquerade as a tabletop RPG, and I am really excited to see any tabletop RPG come to a board game thing. Now, this particular game has a wonderful pedigree as far as the designers are concerned, and so that gives me a little bit more confidence in that it'll be relatively good, because we have had a lot of tabletop RPG crossovers that have not worked too well in the board game realm. But essentially in this particular game, you are playing as one of the vampires trying to gain power and privilege and all of this kind of stuff and eventually rule the streets of Chicago, just like you see in the Vampire the Masquerade RPG system. So I hope that they do a good job with it. I hope that they have that sort of feeling of we're part of this, we're in this, and you have that gritty horror kind of realism that Masquerade kind of brings to the table. That said, with all of it considered, it is my number 1. Well, everybody, that's it for me. I hope that you enjoyed this video on my top 5 new and upcoming games for February of 2021. Again, this is kind of a fun little series that I really enjoy doing simply because I can't afford to buy all of these new games, not to mention play all of them, because I don't have anybody to play with and I can't go out and I can't do anything. And so I can at least read about them, talk about them, and of course see what you guys think. There's a lot of games that are really intriguing to me that I would like to see and hear more about, and I'm sure that there's more games that you guys would like to see and hear more about. So please, as always, let me know anything and everything in the comments below, because you know I love to hear it all. That said, of course, as always, if you haven't done so already, please take a look at my various social media pages where you'll be able to interact with myself and my channel in a whole bunch of really fun ways. And with that, thank you very much for watching. Hope that you enjoyed the video. Please continue to stay safe with COVID. We are trying to beat this. We are working on beating it. We are close-ish, sorta, kind of. We are on the way. We've got our vaccines and we are on the way. So with that, once again, please stay safe, be well, be awesome, and I will see you next time.